What really matters when you're making art? Does anything matter? I think yes. In fact, everything does. I've been thinking about all of this a lot because I recently posted my most controversial video. If you didn't see that video, it was called "It's Time to Take Your Art Seriously," and my whole point was about making art outside of your sketchbook. The comments that really stuck with me are the ones that were saying things along the lines of, "It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you make art." And I think that comes from a good place. I agree. I think that everyone should make art. I don't want to stand in the way of anyone making anything. But I just think "it doesn't matter" is not a good argument. Let me just say that, of course, I think there is value in creating art freely and intuitively, using it as like a therapeutic way to relax. But I think that making art in a natural flow state doesn't necessarily mean an absence of thought in what you're creating. And it might just mean that you're trusting your ideas that you've already internalized. I think sometimes we hide behind the "it doesn't matter, I was just doodling" as a way to escape accountability and clarifying your artwork. But just remember, this is your art, and even if you're not consciously thinking about your decisions, I know that you have reasons behind everything you're doing. Before we go any further, I want to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Craftsy. If you haven't heard of Craftsy, it's an amazing online community full of creative people, just like you and me, who are always learning and trying new things. They have over 2,000 classes in everything from painting and drawing, and my current obsession, sewing and quilting. One of the classes that I'm most excited about is incorporating antique fabrics into quilts, because I have a bunch of my grandparents' like old handkerchiefs and stuff, and I would love to put that in a quilt. Whether you're super experienced in a certain skill or craft, or you're just looking to experiment with something new, Craftsy has it all. You can go at your own pace, rewatch lessons. There's even a live tutorial feature where instructors teach in real time. So for the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description, you will get a full year of Craftsy Premium for just $1.49. Just a heads up, this offer is only for new members. So if you've never joined Craftsy before, now is definitely the time to try it out. If you're looking to spark your creativity by experimenting with new materials, or even just learning new techniques in something you already know, check out Craftsy. And let's get back to the video. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is intentionality, but being intentional doesn't mean that every brushstroke needs to be planned or packed with symbolism. It can be as simple as asking, why do I like this shape? Or why did I choose this color? Even if the answer is just because it felt right, that's still a kind of intention. It's just about noticing what you're doing and why you're doing it. This whole topic makes me think a lot about my younger self in art school. I went to a design college and I majored in illustration, and I remember having this big mindset shift when I took my first fine art painting class. As an illustration major, all of our critiques and discussion were really focused around aesthetics and making something pretty that would appeal to clients. Whenever I was making illustrations, I was focused on composition and color and the overall design, making it look good. So when I took this fine art painting class, it was kind of a shock. The biggest thing I learned was that it's your responsibility as the artist to think about what you're making before you put it out into the world. Even if you don't assign meaning to your art, other people will. In John Berger's Way of Seeing, he writes, "What we see is never neutral." So when you're making art, consider things. Think about, why are you painting on a stretched canvas versus an unstretched canvas? Why are you painting in that style? And what does all of this say about your artwork as a whole? I'll be honest, this class scared me a lot. I was so nervous all the time, nervous when I was making my paintings, nervous during the critiques when we were talking about other people's paintings, because this was a whole new perspective for me. I'm honestly only just now getting to the point where I feel like I can balance thinking about my work without second guessing it. Because at first I felt kind of paralyzed by the idea that every decision I was making was important. You have to find the balance between thinking about your work conceptually and like feeling the act of painting, letting yourself be loose and experimental and playful, because that's still a very important part of art making. It just takes practice, and the more you do it, the more you'll be expanding your creative universe. Painting is kind of like world building. You'll discover your own visual language, the one that best conveys your values and priorities. If you're not sure how to start questioning yourself in the art making process, ask, what emotions do I want to capture? What inspired this? this? Is this piece about something personal? Even simply noticing what you're drawn to in terms of subject matter is a step towards making art with intention. Now, this might all sound kind of like, I don't need to do that. I'm not a fine artist. But I think that pondering your art more deeply, no matter what your medium is, if you're a writer, a graphic designer, illustrator, not only will it result in a more defined, cohesive body of work, but I think you might just learn something about yourself. Okay, so let's go back to the sketchbook topic a little bit. So if you're someone that is choosing to make art only in your sketchbook, think about why you're deciding that. There is definitely value in having your art showcased in the form of a book. From the viewer's perspective, it's a very intimate experience. Flipping through someone else's sketchbook feels so personal and almost invasive, and it's an act that only really one or two people can do at a time because of the size, whereas a giant painting hung on the wall can be viewed by a whole group of people at once. It's much more public, and both things are great. It's just about deciding which one best conveys your message. If there's a large portion of your canvas that is left blank, that negative space is going to convey something to the viewer, and that matters. Let's use Cy Twombly's work as an example. At first glance, these works might look like random scribbles, maybe even drawn by a child. But although his work is very loose and intuitive, it's also very intentional. The longer you look, the scribbles become sort of a writing. And when you see his complete body of work, you can tell that he has his own kind of literal visual language. So these paintings might look effortless, but they come from years of exploration and commitment to this world building. Your visual language is like your personal style as an artist. It's the colors, the textures, the symbols, the mark making, the things that you keep coming back to time and time again, even if you're not fully aware of it yet. Again, I just want to remind you, don't freak yourself out with all this decision making. You don't have to know what something means before you make it, but after you make it, pause and reflect. That reflection is going to turn play into growth. I totally understand the appeal of saying it doesn't matter, I'm just doodling. It takes away some pressure. You can still make art freely while also being curious about why you're making it. None of this is about being perfect. It's just about caring, figuring out what matters to you. You put so much time and energy into your art making. It clearly means something enough for you to do it. So just think about why. So let me know your thoughts, and thank you so much for listening and hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.